Today, we're talking about one of the most colorful personalities ever to wear a major league uniform, Tito Fuentes. Some players are remembered because they hit towering home runs, others because they won MVP awards. Tito Fuentes carved out a different legacy. He played with joy, swagger, and unmistakable style, becoming one of the most recognizable second basemen of the National League during the late 1960s and early 1970s. Fuentes was born in Havana, Cuba, and his baseball journey began during one of the most turbulent periods in Cuban history. He represented Cuba in international competition before signing with the San Francisco Giants shortly after the Cuban Revolution. He was among the last generation of players to come directly from Cuba into the major leagues, making his path historically significant as well as professionally impressive. He reached the Giants in 1965, joining an organization loaded with stars like Willie Mays, Willie McCovey, Juan Marichal, and Gaylord Perry. Breaking into that clubhouse wasn't easy, but Fuentes brought energy that immediately stood out. Just days after making his major league debut, he found himself in one of baseball's most infamous moments, the Giants-Dodgers brawl of August 1965, remembered for Juan Marichal striking catcher John Roseboro with a bat. Fuentes was the on-deck hitter when chaos erupted, and like nearly everyone else on the field, he charged into the melee. It was an unforgettable introduction to one of baseball's fiercest rivalries. His career didn't move in a straight line. After struggling at the plate and spending all of 1968 back in the minors, many players might have disappeared from the major league picture. Tito didn't. He fought his way back to San Francisco and gradually reclaimed the everyday second base job. His perseverance paid off in 1971 when the Giants captured the National League West. In the opening game of the National League Championship Series against Pittsburgh, Fuentes delivered one of the biggest swings of his career, hitting a two-run homer to give San Francisco its only victory of the series. Defensively, Fuentes became an unlikely success story. Earlier in the decade, he had led the National League second baseman in errors, but instead of accepting that reputation, he transformed himself into one of baseball's steadiest fielders. In 1973, he set a National League record with a .993 fielding percentage by a regular second baseman, a remarkable turnaround that stood for more than a decade before Ryne Sandberg eventually surpassed it. That transformation says a great deal about Tito Fuentes. He didn't simply rely on natural ability, he improved. Of course, statistics only tell part of his story. Fans remember Tito because baseball looked like fun whenever he was on the field. Long before colorful personalities became commonplace, Fuentes brought flair to every game. He wore headbands, sometimes outside his cap. He developed a unique pre-pitch routine, carrying the bat by the barrel, tapping the plate with the handle, flipping it into the air, and catching it before stepping into the batter's box. It became his signature. Not everyone appreciated his style. Some old-school opponents thought he showed too much personality. Pitchers occasionally retaliated by throwing inside. But Tito never stopped being Tito. His confidence and showmanship helped make him one of baseball's most entertaining players during an era that often expected players to blend into the background. After nearly a decade with the Giants, Fuentes continued his career with the Padres, then enjoyed his finest offensive season with Detroit in 1977, batting over .300. Even then, baseball's timing can be cruel. The Tigers had a young second baseman named Lou Whitaker ready to take over, so Fuentes moved on once more before finishing his major league career with Oakland. His playing days ended, but his relationship with San Francisco never did. In 1981, Tito returned to the Giants as one of the club's first Spanish-language radio broadcasters, helping generations of fans experience Giants baseball. Later, he became a Spanish-language analyst, remaining one of the familiar voices associated with a franchise for decades. Few players become beloved by an organization both as a player and a broadcaster. Tito Fuentes accomplished exactly that. His career reminds us that baseball isn't only about championships or Hall of Fame plaques. It's also about personality, resilience, and leaving people smiling every time you take the field. Tito Fuentes brought excitement to every game he played. He overcame setbacks, reinvented himself defensively, represented one of baseball's great international stories, and became a lifelong ambassador for the San Francisco Giants. Sometimes the players you remember most aren't just the biggest stars. They're the ones who made the game feel alive. I'm Mr. Baseball, and this has been Players, a Smell Baseball podcast.